too, because that way we can double check with Stacy, because this is a tool that I think she created.
Oh yeah, startup
to double check.
No, doesn't depreciate the same way. You know, the startup cost it's just a different way that depreciates. When you buy stuff, you can start depreciation right away when it's not a startup cost. If you start to use it right away.
So quick question, so something like vehicles on there, is it that's set by the IRS if that's a 5-year asset regardless of the vehicle? So you take the value. So then I'm just wondering, because in our situation, the bus itself is a 99 model vehicle, but then it was bought by the person who owns it, I believe, like 3 or 4 years ago, 4 or 5, something like that. And luckily, I mean, he's been letting us use it without, like, we've been setting aside money for the emergency repairs, but he's basically been giving it to us to use and recovering all the kind of maintenance and upkeep costs. So we never had any startup expenses with it. We just kind of started with using it with the hope that if eventually we have the money, we can, take on ownership and pay him back what he bought for it, those few years ago. But in terms of the actual value of the vehicle, it's probably already at, is it worth 0 at this point? I mean, it's a 99 vehicle. I mean, it's not. It's worth more than that. But
no, if you buy it used, then it has that value that you bought it used. If you don't own it, you can't depreciate it yet.
Right.
If you're just using it, if you're leasing it, you can't depreciate it. But once you buy it, if you buy it used, then you start your depreciation from that point.
And with vehicles, there's a separate index called the Kelly Blue Book value.
Right.
And
this
that's
thing
where
is not in there. It's too. I guess it's not. Yeah, it's not a standard vehicle.
But again, the accountant will tell you how to depreciate a used vehicle. It's a little bit different, right? But for your books, for your balance sheet, this is how you depreciate your. It's a separate thing. It's for taxes is one, and for your balance sheet is another.
Because again, like this is more like if this is more for you to be able to know, right? If you liquidated your business in year 2, how much money would you get out of it?
So we wouldn't even put this on there because we don't technically own it, so it's not an asset, so that doesn't even show up on our sheet.
It probably shows like lease stuff or rental equipment, whatever you saving. Well, you saving it. You're saving some money for it. Right?
We put aside $100 a month towards emergency repairs, and they can use that money if like a tire pops in to use it. That's the agreement we have. Is basically just doesn't use it.
Maybe you have to start.
So right now he's probably taking the tax write-off because it's basically allowing you to use the bus as
a tax deductible charity.
Yeah, exactly, charitable contribution. Right.
Do you have anything else? Okay. Did anyone have any other questions? And I took note of the ones that we already asked, so we can post those to Stacy too to get her feedback. But all right. That's depreciation.
So, well, the next part of this would be to try to do it in our co-ops. Do we have time to do that?
I mean, it's 8.
No, we don't.
Is there
So that you have more homework. Okay. I mean, weekly challenges. So this is an example one. The color one is example, but there's a blank sheet that I will email out. It's a spreadsheet that has the equations in it. So it's not a hard piece of homework because you fill in the top parts of stuff that you'll be buying in the first 5 years of your business, and then it helps you calculate your expenses. But then we have to put it in the overhead expenses worksheet. Who's doing that? Is that me? So that's the next one that says worksheet overhead expenses. This includes these depreciated stuff, but we have to calculate all of our expenses.
So we can adjust this for our particular budget.
You can add items. Yeah. Is that what you mean? If this doesn't cover things that you'll be spending money on? Yeah, definitely. Try to fit it into one of these areas, but if you can't, you can add an item. We have a lot to do today, so I don't know how much more we can do on this. So once we fill out these overhead expenses, that's when we can get to the, this break-even point, right? Are there, so let's take a quick look over the overhead expenses. And do people have any questions about where your expenses would fit, or things that you don't see on this, or things that you don't understand what it means? So the totals we get from that last sheet go right here, depreciation and amortization, year 1, 2, and 3. We just take those totals from that fast sheet, that colorful one we just looked at, and you put it in that line right at the top of it, right in this line here. Everyone see which one we're looking at? It's at the top, worksheet overhead expenses. This one, right? So this is another piece of homework. Any questions? Well, you're basically putting in the expenses you expect to have in the first 3 years of your business.
What about, so, like bookkeeping?
It's accounting, professional expenses, accounting fees.
So if you do it yourself, it doesn't go on your overhead? Well, it doesn't go like administrative overhead?
It would be under, I think, management expenses on
Are you gonna
management
pay
labor
yourself
costs.
to do it? Where?
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, probably under management expenses, management labor costs, but it's just a different person is doing it instead of an accountant.
What's the burden of labor?
That's pretty benefits,
It's
right?
from when we did the worksheet to figure out like what your profit is per unit. Like, you know, you multiply the rate per hour times either like 5 or 15%, and that's for your current your benefits, your health insurance, and then total is your burden of labor costs.
So check your past worksheets for that.
Where would we put like the 5% of these?
It could be, well, probably professional expenses or something, because that's something you would be budgeting later that we're taking care of now, like accounting or administrative, outside administrative support. You can make a new line item that's like administrative consulting or something. Any other questions?
Question, so overhead expenses, I thought we were supposed to keep separately the difference between overhead and the cost of direct services, the cost of goods sold. But wouldn't the selling expenses like labor and burden and materials, that would all be direct expenses, right?
Just for management. It's not for every piece that you, it's not for the work done on a job, right? It's for a work in management throughout the year. People get that distinction?
Is it okay, how okay is it to modify this? Like if you do have other categories or like don't like some of the categories? Like is it kind of frowned upon because then it's hard to work with the accountant or?
I think the accountant has to like
Figure it out.
suit your needs. I mean, every business is different. I've set up like 4 nonprofit accounts, even depending on nonprofit.
Just as long as it's actually the overhead and not the day-to-day.
Okay, so we'll have lots of fun going through those worksheets next week. We have one more piece of weekly challenge for you, and it's this insurance quotes.
Yay.
So actually call up an insurance agent and get some quotes.
Yeah.
It might take a couple weeks, but you can try a few different insurance companies. If people need some referrals for local companies, we have some. Does anyone else want to throw throw out anything about how to talk to insurance agents or which ones we should talk to?
I mean, we just found, for us, found someone else in our industry in the area and asked them, and I was really good, so we contacted a company in Massachusetts and said, you guys could, like, you're happy with insurance. So we thought it would be really helpful.
Had a really, this is maybe a hard one kind of like get through at the end of this, but had a really hard time finding charter insurance. We already have like regular like individual liability insurance on the bus, and I can use the information we just have from that. But in order to rent it out and be a charter company, we need charter insurance, and there's all kinds of barriers to actually getting that. And first, like, there's even trying to find a charter insurance company that operates in Rhode Island was hard, but almost impossible. So we had to look at like an interstate one. That's a whole other ballgame. And then I was talking with him, and even he was asking for information to give me a quote, and wanted a full business plan of like all of these things are put together before he would even give me a quote. And I thought it'd be the other way around. It's like you get a quote and then put that into your business plan to look at different quotes. But he wouldn't even give me a quote before.
Give him a business plan with $100 quote.
Yeah, you should only need a pretty good description of your activities, you know? I'd try a few more if they're asking for a complete business plan.
There are a few more. Did you listen to that?
Well, I think
Well,
I would think that limos probably would have almost very close insurance that you need.
but I would talk to other agents. That doesn't, you know, the agents might have underwriters who do this kind of thing, or they know how to talk to the underwriter. Maybe you don't have to go directly to that insurance company, but the insurance agent, they can get you a quote on all these different things, including, or if they don't know of it, they know how to research it probably faster than you know how to. They're not going to charge you because they're going to get paid on anything they sell you. You have to look like you're serious, or they're not going to put time in shopping around. But you don't, I mean, you probably don't have to provide an agent a full business. Any other questions?
Just don't drive the bus up to the end. Obviously, I'm serious.
It's not bad.
Again, saying you have or will have safety plans before you start can sometimes save you some money, those kind of things. They have lots of forms they'll make you fill out, but you want some basic quotes to get
You
going.
have an alarm and a tracking system.
Okay. Oh, we are out of time. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to put the rest off.
We could use 2 more weeks.
That was the best.
Okay.